I mean, there was a fantastic relationship there. Sort of sibling in a funny way.
You could hear them screaming at the top of the house, like, the children are asleep. And then I'd go and join in, and of course, you know, they'd share their latest idea with me. And I do feel very privileged to have been in on that and been a part of it. It was a very warm and codependent relationship. Peter probably loved Dudley more than anybody in his life.
There's no doubt that by the end of the series, Dudley was giving as good as he got.
Careful, Squire, I'll have to smack your face, you know.
Dudley and I have terrible rows.
Really?
They're not rows, but as time has gone on, we get more and more sort of persistent in our attitudes towards things.
Well, I'm not quite the servile little creep I used to be.
It then all went pear-shaped when he wanted to be all sorts of things he couldn't be. He wanted to be Cary Grant, he wanted to be a film star. He wanted to be as attractive to women as Dudley was.
They were preparing Bedazzled while I was doing Not Only But Also. So naturally, I was sniffing around, hoping that I'd get to direct it.
Filming on location, those two satirical stalwarts, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, in a new 20th Century Fox production directed by Stanley Donen called Bedazzled.
I'll cover the world in tasty freeze and wimpy burgers. I'll fill it full of concrete runways, motorways, aircraft, television and automobiles, advertising, plastic flowers and frozen food, supersonic bangs.
They could do no wrong at that time, so to do a film next was a natural progression, and it would be a hit, and then you do another one. I mean, you know, there was no thought in anybody's mind that they would continue to be anything other than mega successful.
First of all, who are you?
My name is George Spigot.
George Spigot. What do you do?
I'm the devil, and I tempt people, mainly.
Cookie was the best sketch actor that I ever saw, but I don't think that he was anything like as good when he was trying to be absolutely real and portray real emotion.
Let's try not to be frivolous. Well, sex may be frivolous to you, Mr. Niss, but it's not to me and the vast majority of people in this country.
But even in a scripted film, you could imagine that at any moment he's going to start making no sense at all, you know, or he's going to go somewhere I don't expect.
That's the creative thing about improvisation, and that's what he always preferred and loved most, was to actually improvise. I think he found it quite difficult to do his own, well, certainly other people's scripts.
I was in the cinema at the time, just me, my wife and children and dogs. I was watching this film, and suddenly I thought, a film. That's it. A film.
And even the shooting of a movie is something which, the sheer technique of having to turn up and do stuff over and over again is, I think, restricting for the sort of talent that Peter had.
The morning's shooting completed, these two great stars relax over lunch.
For me to start, I think compote of grapefruit, small segments that's engendered in a vase.
For me the same, identical.
I think he would have liked to have been an actor, but it never quite didn't work. He wasn't. He was a wit and personality.
And then to follow, yes, fried fillet of plaice and lemon there with sage and onion sauce, garden peas fresh from England's lands, and roast potatoes too.
I mean, no matter what Cook is doing, the personality of Cook comes through in that he's performing.
And then to cap it all for me, semolina milk pudding to engender all those juices which do aid the digestion.
For me, nothing.
Nothing, my lord?
Nothing, my lord.
And two piping hot black coffees, then.
Finally, the passionate bedroom scene.
Bastard! Bitch! Adulterer! Cow!
So I think Peter maybe having the problems and getting divorced and separated and some of the things that happened to him in his relationships, started to drink a lot more. I think that was perhaps a way of shutting it out.
It was clear that he had Judy in his life, and I was clear that I wasn't prepared to kind of have a a shared situation. So it pretty quickly went dark.
Bye-bye, love. Bye-bye, happiness. Hello, loneliness. I wish that I could die.
Dudley once said to me that the start of the breakup of the relationship was the tour, the Behind the Fridge tour that they did in Australia.
What's bothering you here?
You're drunk!
Certainly at that stage I thought, I can't stay on stage with this guy for 2 hours.
Have a glass of sherry?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say no, thank you, sir.
Well, why should you say no? A glass of sherry never did anybody any harm.
And he came off and said to me, he said, I sat down in that moment, he said, I think I realised that it was up, that we had to go our separate ways. I couldn't go on anymore doing this because I loved him so much, you know, and you didn't want to see that happen to anybody. So I think that was the beginning of the end of the partnership.
In Australia, in Sydney, I think he was drunk for the first week.
Peter Cook, divorced by his wife during his visit here, had as a constant companion English actress Judy Huxtable, cited as co-respondent in the divorce action.
When we did Behind the Fridge at the Cambridge, he was drunk on the first night, and the curtain went up half an hour late. I thought we weren't going to get the curtain up at all. I mean, I was in the dressing room punching him, you know, well, not hitting, but slapping him, and Dudley was just standing, screaming and swearing at him, you know, and pouring water down him and coffee and what, you know, stuff. I mean, he was just insane. You know, he was just out.
Yeah, and keep it going right into the wings. Come here and sing it. Hello, Pip.
I'm sorry about this, but my rehearsal with John Fortune, after rehearsal, turned into more of a drunken reminiscence about Lenny Bruce and his drug problem.
Maybe by that time it was a way to prove something to Dudley, that he could do it and get away with it and annoy Dudley. And it did. I mean, it got Dudley became a nervous wreck, you know, before those shows.
Why do you make me get into this stage?
I don't make you get into
yes,
stage.
You do. I'm just saying that it.
I'm not at all. It's just I'm aware afterwards that at a certain moment my mind has wandered off onto something else.
When it came to the opening of Behind the Fridge, I was there the first night, and the curtain was very late, held about 20 minutes.
Before the curtain went up, Dudley went on stage and took his trousers down and mooned the audience behind the curtain. So this audience out there are all, what's going on? And Dudley said, I'll tell you what's fucking going on. The cunt is drunk. He's drunk, the cunt is drunk. We may not want tonight. Put his trousers back up and said, if he gets up, call me.
You know, there's nothing I like more than an opening night.
Nothing better.
Nothing better.
Excitement, the glamour of an opening night.
Yes, wonderful.
The review the next day by one of the leading crickets, as Peter calls them, crickets, said a strangely nervous Dudley Moore was overruled by a magisterial performance by Peter Cook. It wasn't a magisterial performance. Dudley was cooing Peter all the time beneath his breath. Peter didn't know the next line. And Peter would walk into the wings and I would tell him the next line, and then he'd walk back on stage. And he didn't know that these crickets didn't notice this, you know. And Sean Connery did. Sean Connery said to me after I had a drink with Sean, he said, a wee bit of trouble with 50% of your cast, eh, Joe? You saw it. You knew.
I remember saying that this was going to be the end of it. I didn't want to work with him.
I think Dudley went through with going to America because the money was good.
He got a little pie-eyed during the New York run now and again.
With this ring, I do thee wed. I do thee wed.
I remember people having to break down the door of his apartment and stuff.
Pronounce you man and wife. That's great.
And dragging him out and he, I'm fine.
Congratulations, Peter.
He used to wave to me from the window. Fine. Used to be really out of it. Oh, it was painful. It was painful.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Dudley drank a lot too, but he would never get to the stage that Peter was in. And also, Peter drank very cheap German hock